How's it going, folks? Shugz here. Just wanted to do a little tutorial kind of walkthrough thing of this track. It's my latest release, AI. Just came out there on Monday, 18th of February, on Mr. Richard Duran's Reloaded label. I've got a lot of requests to do stuff like this in the past, walkthroughs of my tracks and stuff, and to be honest, I've always wanted to do them, but I just couldn't suss the software and get it set up properly, the OBS. So I had one last play about last night and finally got it sorted, so I thought I would do a little walkthrough, show you some of the ideas and some of the content in the track, and hopefully you learn something. Not going to go too detailed with everything. A lot of this track is bounced down the audio anyway, so there's not a lot of chains and channels and stuff to show you, but there is the sounds and obviously the ideas are there, so we'll just kick it off here. 33rd bar is where I usually would start. I don't really like the intro was the last thing that I do. It's boring as hell, and I would rather just start here because this is where everything starts to get interesting. So we'll start off with the bare bones kick and bass. This is a kick on its own. Bog standard kick, sub bass, rolling sub. Bit of R bass on it to give it a bit of warmth. Everything cut about 250 hertz, above 250 hertz, and then just a bit of sidechain to roll it along. The mid bass here is just, let me see. Same applies, some EQ, cut the low end out, modified, straight down the middle, and a bit of sidechain compression as well. Well, sidechain. Kickstart to roll that along nicely. This is them all together. Let me see. Nice stuff. We'll move on to percussion now. Now, there's quite a lot of groove in this track, so there's a lot of percussion. I'll just go through them all individually, so we'll loop this across. So the kick and bass, got a clap on the kick. It's not too loud, it's just in the background to give a bit of space with the kick. This is a little vocal sample. This is like a bass hit, percussion sound kind of thing. Hard to explain, to be honest, but it started off like this. That's the original sound, and I decided to get a bit tricky with it and mix it up a bit with a bit of modulation and stuff like that. So that's the original sound. And then there's like variations. This one as well. It's just like a delay effect with using that sound. It's also another delay effect. What's this? Reverse reverb chopped up with pitch. It's just a reverse reverb. So if you add all these together, just this sound, this bass perk sound thing together with the kick and bass, get this. Cool stuff. Moving on, just we'll actually put these all in. Clap, the vocal, this, and then we've got just a hi-hat here. Another hi-hat. An open hat loop. A couple of rides there with a bit of panning. Shaker. Another hi-hat loop. These are just like industrial kind of sounds, just coming on the kick. Give a bit of groove. Next, there's snares, rolling snares. Snare drums just also complementing the groove. Then there's like a filtered loop, just to kind of boost the mid-range, give a bit of body in the mids. And this is like a final loop in this section anyway. And there's a ride here, sorry. So put all those together. That on the kick and bass. There we go. Let me see now what's next. not going to go through all the crashes and all, because that is extremely boring. This is the first break here, so let me just have a listen from here to here. We can go through some effects and stuff later, because it is a little bit more complex, but just have a listen from here to the break. You can see how everything works together there. So everything's coming in at the right point. Nice groove. It starts here, it builds up, chugs along, then we've got a wee fill here, and then it just adds more to the groove, and then obviously getting ready for the transition to the first break. So this is the first break now. The original idea with this little break section, I wanted to have like a Prodigy kind of buzz, where, let me see, this has got this like drum loop, like jungle drum loop, and it sounded very Prodigy-esque, and it just sparked the inspiration to do something cool like that. So very, very cool, and I wanted to have like a big build here and then just a drop into the kick and bass on its own. So I started off just like building up thickening up the break. So started off with like, it was like a vocal glitch sample here, filtering up. With that we'll have like these stabs, also filtering up. And the drum loop comes in. Simple. And then here, this is like a kind of like a synth stabby kind of sound. Just complements the sounds that are there together. So just chugged it along a bit. Then obviously, because this is a build here, needed to get everything to start building anticipation. So we added in, let me see, where's the snares and stuff. So it's like a break sample, break beat, just underneath. Gives a bit of body in the low end. Because this sample here doesn't have much low end at all, it's just like very mid-range and tingy on the highs. Added this breakbeat in just to give it a bit of oomph in the low end, because there obviously is no kicks or any low end information. Then we have a snare build, bog standard stuff, and some kicks here. Just to chug everything along. This first little section here, there's quite a lot going on as well with the effects. Let me see. So there's these modulation kind of effects. It's just a load of samples put in together, and I kind of pan them and use delay and just kind of morph them all together, so to speak, to go along with the groove. So let me go to the bottom here and just solo these, and then let you hear those. To kind of give a bit of interest, to be honest, because it is quite dry and boring there. So there's just a wee reverse on that as well. Is there anything else in here? I don't think so. No. And then let me see here. This is the build over here. Everything together. And then for this little section here, there's this really, really cool plugin called Stutter Edit from Isotope. It's amazing for fills. It uses MIDI information within the VST to like go through presets. So every single key that you would press on your MIDI keyboard, whatever, if you send that information to the audio plugin. For every single key that you press, it does like a different kind of a fill and effect. It's made by BT. There's loads of banks with it, and they're all very, very useful. But just here, where it makes a little change, everything comes down, and then I'll have some like reverses and stuff coming up into the fill. The little fill section as well, the original little vocal I had, where is it? I just chopped it up. Where the fuck is it? This. I just chopped it up and like made a little variation on the vocal before it drops into the actual kick and bass. So let's have another listen here. So it just builds all up. It has that little fill I was talking about with the isotope here. Couple of reverse effects. And then into the little vocal sample, then it drops again. Cool stuff. Next section, basically it just builds up again here. Just wanted to keep it chugging along until we got to the bridge, to the break. So just have a listen to this. Actually have a wee quick look at the effects here. I do get a lot of requests from people to see how my effects chains work. There's no real method to it. It's just sounds. Question and answers is a good way. That for every sound is like a question. You have to have something that's like an answer. But you can have like loads and loads of different effects. But have a main effect, which is the question, and then a main answer. So two like overly powered effects, and then you'll have loads of stuff in the background, if that makes sense. So it literally is just a lot of sounds together, making sure that they all are in key and working together sonically. One thing I will say is always try and reuse sounds if you're doing these like effects chains. Don't be scared to experiment. Use delays, use reverbs, use like those effects plugins. Just try and make as many different variations of one sound from one sample and then use them all together, because it means it's all going to sound good because you're using the same sample for all these different chains. So that's just like a vocal sample out of a pack with a little reverb. And then what I've done is I've like played with it. So that's just like a reverse reverb panned with a bit of pitch, like a pitch automation, bringing it down. So that's just the actual sample itself, hitting, and then stretched at the end with reverb. That's obviously nothing that's different. All these little sounds, just to kind of fill the space. What's this? That's this again, pitched I think. And then I've done like a dub delay on it. And this final bit here. So all these, this, all these together are all from one single little snippet, this little snippet of sound here, originally. Cool stuff. As I said, don't be afraid to experiment. It definitely takes a lot more time and patience for these kind of things, but like there's nothing worse than just dragging in a load of samples in a track. Well, for me anyway, dragging in a load of samples, just like one shot samples over and over and over again, and it just doesn't work. It's boring and it's lazy. So don't be scared to jump in and experiment and try these different things. Don't just do it on effects, do it on your percussion, do it on everything, bass, like there's no rules. Just jump in, experiment, have as much fun as possible, and make your tunes as interesting as you can. So here, this is where everything starts to build up again. This section here is where it all like kind of kicks in and the energy's like back. So this little section here is like the transition build. So everything starts to come up again, the percussion starts to filter up, You have some sweeps and stuff like that to kind of build the tension back up, because obviously we had the drop here. So you've stripped everything back, build here, stripped everything back, build again, back in, and then the bridge to the break here will take everything back down, then we'll have a breakdown. So percussion stuff starts to filter all back up. Getting the tension going. What's this? Just a kind of filler effect there. Didn't even know I was there. So yeah, and then it builds up. Then we'll have a fill here. It's actually in the wrong place. The fills are. So these little transitions as well. This is one thing I always try and do in my tracks. I try and keep my transitions as interesting as I can, and how I do that is like filtering down everything. So like over a bar here, is a bar, 2 bars? Yeah, it's a bar. So this final bar, filter your bass up, your percussion obviously stays the same. You could filter that down, you could chop it up, you could automate a reverb with a filter. But one thing I do is I'll do those first. I'll do the kick and bass and the percussion bit first, like just a basic bit of either volume automation or filtering or something, and then what I'll do is I'll like start to layer up sounds, so like reverses, sub drops, impacts, little quick sweeps, and just little interesting sounds to smooth this over until the actual fill here. I don't like just going from it like directly into a fill and just cutting everything. I like to always mix it up and like smooth it over basically. So you'll have, like, if you notice in my tunes, 1 bar before the actual fill, which is a bar long, I'll start to have everything coming out and down. So there we'll have basic stuff. Sub drop. There's a sweep. Don't forget, just like layer. If you have too much, you can take out. If you don't have enough, that's the problem. You'd rather have too much. It's one thing I always like, overproduce these sections, and then I'll take out what I don't need or move it to a later section in the track and use it again. So it's just a reverse. It's a little impact. 1 bar before the fill, so it's getting you ready, letting everyone know there's a change coming. Just another filler effect. What's this? Just a down lifter, down sweep, and then this is the fill here. So let me see what's going on here. It's just a clap, and it's our kick clap in on its own. Is the kick in too? Yeah, so it's just a kick rolling along, couple of kick rolls with the clap on top. And it's just like an effect of the bass hit perk I showed you earlier on, just a variation. Just lots of different sounds there. Kind of like a percussion loop, vocal loop, and then there's this little stab thing at the end. And what I've done with this is cool. So that was originally just that kind of sound. What I've done was I put a delay on it, so it carries over. The delay tail carries over to here. And then what I've done was bounce to another channel and reverse the delay tail. So faded this delay out and then reverse the channel and faded this one up. So it kind of goes out, like it sounds like the tail's coming out. And then it starts to come back up on itself. And then you have like a little quick stab of this at the end with reverb. So it sounds like this. Do you know what I mean about just reusing sounds? Instead of just doing that and putting a normal delay tail and then adding in a brand new sound here, it's far better just to use the same sounds that you've used before in different ways. It's also a lot more fun as well. Right, so this here section here, this is the first part where you hear Elon's vocal. The idea of this track, I was on my way to Ibiza, Captured Festival last year, and I downloaded Joe Rogan podcast, sorry. Big fan of Joe Rogan and his podcast, but this one was with Elon Musk. and they were talking about AI. They were talking about like machines and how humans are going to integrate with AI very, very soon, and the stuff is terrifying. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. It's on YouTube. Just type in Elon Musk Joe Rogan podcast or Joe Rogan experience. But anyway, they were talking about AI and how humans are going to integrate with it and stuff, and it single-handedly inspired me to make a tune, because I was thinking about like this would be super, super cool, this concept in a track, like a really dark and driving robotic kind of buzz track, and it was this vocal. This was the first thing that I got the idea from, listening to it.
I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years.
So that's him talking to Joe about basically AI coming to take over the world and whatnot. Terrifying stuff. But this is the first bit here where it comes in with the kick and bass.
I try to convince people to slow down.
And from here, just to smooth over, as I said earlier on about the build, this was obviously where everything came back in. You need to get everything back down. So just strip all the percussion here. This is our breakdown here. So we needed to get everything out coming into the breakdown. So just start taking everything down. Percussion's out. Adding some effects, filter down the kick and bass and whatnot. Just to kind of lower the tension, to bring the tension back out. So you have basic like silence, so to speak, of energy in your break. So you can start to build up again.
I try to slow down AI to rate. This was futile. I tried for years.
In the break now, we'll have a wee listen to the first section of the break here, and then we can go through it. Whoops.
It feels like we are the biological bootloader. We're building progressively greater intelligence. And the percentage of intelligence that is not is increasing. And eventually, we will represent a very small percentage of intelligence.
So it's kind of basic. There's not like a lot going on. It is very stripped back and very dark. I didn't want too much being at the forefront over the vocal. I just wanted the vocal to be there and then everything to kind of sit beneath and behind the vocal. So we've done some cool like modulation and stuff on the vocal itself. Let me try and find it. This project is huge. 310 channels. Insane. Need to learn how to keep stuff bounced down better, like just lazy when every single sound has to have its own individual channel on my tracks, and I don't know why. Just hate the process of bouncing stuff down and doing all that. I'd rather just keep. It's boring, very, very boring more than anything. It's just more exciting to keep going, keep chucking on, keep adding new sounds. But yeah, it is a pain in the ass doing stuff like this. So this is the vocal here.
It feels like we are the biological bootloader.
So it's a combination. There's like, this is the vocal on its own. What I've done was added like pitch, so you can hear him like going a lot squeaker here.
The biological bootloader.
So he's like pitching up. Then there's all pitching down.
We're building.
There's all these little effects that we'll go to in a minute, but there's like pitching down and then reverse reverbs and stuff. It's just kind of make it more interesting, instead of just having like a bog standard speech.
It feels like we are the biological bootloader. We're building progressively greater intelligence. And the percentage of intelligence that is not human is increasing. And eventually, we will represent a very small percentage of intelligence.
So it's just reverb, a bit of delay, and a bit of pitch. But what separates it from, well, what changes it up and separates it from being so the boring, just normal speech, is these little things here. So these are all just like little variations and transitions and stuff on the vocal, which have bounced down to kind of complement it. So we'll start at the top here. What's the first one? Let me see. So it's come back into what I was saying, just using the vocal to make some like cool variations and cool sounds to complement it. This one here. This one here. Increasing. This is just reverse, yeah. Increasing. Yep. So if we listen to all these together.
It feels like we are the biological bootloader. We're building progressively greater intelligence. And the percentage of intelligence that is not human is increasing. And eventually, we will represent a very small percentage of intelligence.
Very cool stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it with the speech. And then we'll just have everything layered over the top of it. So there's just all these atmospheric effects and stuff. Not too much, nothing too complicated. Just all these little fillers. Filler effects just to sit in the background underneath. So it's just layer everything. I get asked about the effects a lot, like, it's just layer everything up, make it sound as fat as possible, almost too fat. If it's too fat, take something out or change the sound and make it thinner. You'd rather have too much and then take out than not have enough, as I said before. So we'll just have a listen to, let me see, is there any like synths or anything here? Yeah, there is. What's this? Oh yeah, I made these, forgot about these. It's just like an arpeggiator. Couple of layers and some pads and stuff. I think it was Zebra, 2 layers in Zebra, and the pads are, as far as I know, silent. Where the hell are the pads? That's just the ARP. There was pads. That says break ARP and pads. They were here. They're obviously gone now. I don't know where they went. But yeah, there was pads there underneath these, just to get sidechain with this. Just to kind of chug it along. Very low in volume. You can't really hear them. Just obviously a filler effect. So we'll listen to these together again. Just the effects and synths.
It feels like we are the biological bootloader.
And you have all your sweeps and stuff as well.
We're building progressively greater intelligence.
This as well, this was from Spire, remember? Where is it? Serum, sorry. Stand corrected. Very like tingy kind of synth sound. This comes off after Elon finishes speaking. This just comes in, and then at the end it does the exact same thing with like a long tail.
Greater intelligence.
And then along here as well.
And eventually we will.
It's a lot longer here. The sequence is a lot longer. Then it comes in into this build here. It's like a dub delay build up into the drop. We'll move that next. There's a pitched pad there as well. So yeah, very bare bones in the break apart from the vocal. And that was the point, to keep it dark and evil, so to speak. So this here was just like a basic dub delay. Just layered a load of sounds together in the build. Let me check them out. It's just like all these build kind of samples. Snares, razors, stuff like that. Hold on. So that's, I think that's the tail of that Timmy, very tinny, like serum stab we listened to there. And what I done was, once I got to here, I just like chugged, copied it over so it would chug along. Yeah, this is the layer, there's all these together. So it's like a lot of the sounds that were here all sampled together, and then when they get here they just chug along. And then that with this kind of build up. So it all built to here, and then what I done was like the next snippet section here, this part of everything in the track, I just like sampled this little bit and then done a dub delay with it all. The project's kind of messy because I had to put it all together. It's there's not really like individual sounds to show, but that's what I've done. I'm trying to find the actual sample here. Where is it? I think it's down here. Yep. So let me see the dub delay. This is the dub delay here. So this is everything that was before, like a quarter beat before, all put together, and then on a dub delay, and then bounce down again. And then that's the stutter effect again. The isotope stutter effect is this little section here. So you basically just press the MIDI information, the key here when it gets to this section, and then it'll do this little fill. And then you just also again, same exact thing, layer it up into the transition, some impact, kind of reverse, another reverse. So it's just layering everything up, being creative with the sounds.
We will not control it.
And then just brought a snippet of Elon back in, and then this is the main drop here. So stripped everything back again, then it's just like effects mayhem. Went to town big time here. I wasn't sure right up until this section what I wanted to do, but it was when I started listening back to the break more, I was like, right, it needs to be just dark. I don't want it to be like far too much energy coming in, because I wanted to have a build at the end here where there was like a big lift in energy. So I didn't want to come into like too much energy here and then having to bring everything down again to bring it all back up. So I just kind of kept it, the bass, I kick a bass on its own with a lot of effects to keep it rolling on. So as banging as possible, and then along here we'll have one big lift in energy, and then obviously the outro. So this is the main drop.
We will not control it.
We'll have a listen to the effects on their own. You can see what I mean about like the question and answer method. Let me see. He's a bit smaller. So you can see like every time something finishes, something else kind of starts. There's obviously stuff layering up together as well, but like it's every time there's something hitting, you can see like a block later. Almost looks like Tetris or something. There's like a block later that's going to be hitting when that one finishes. And then you have your fades and stuff. So everything's working together. There's not too much going on, but it still sounds decent. I'll put metronome on. It's another little section here where it was recycling, same sound. Where is it? Is it this? Oh, it's after. So this leads into this. So it's just like one little snippet of sound. Obviously it started with this, and then what I've done is just filtered it. Reverb, bit of a phaser, and then the panning, which is making it jump left and right. And I think this is, yeah, that's Glitch Bitch, an amazing plugin. It's really cool for like transitions and fills and stuff. That's just kind of like chopping that up and bringing it up, filter down, and then this is a frequency shifter, which kind of like spaces it out. Very cool. Then we've got another fill here. Let me see. So just like a vocal sample. Change the pitch here, chopped it up, and then chopped it up again here. And have all these little layers with it. Little laser sound there. These all sound like absolute shit on their own, all these sounds, but like if you put everything together, this is what it's all about. It's all about just layering stuff up, making it sound as fat as possible. It works. So again here, so everything starts to build. So we brought back in the bass, that kind of bass sequence sound effect. Starts to build again with the percussion. Just effects here with everything building back up, and then there's another fill here. Then this is where the last burst of energy comes in. So is there anything new that comes in here? I don't think there is. Just more effects. Shock. This is the last burst here. Like that I needed something really, really cool to come in here. The last burst of energy, like the last lift. I come up with these like rave stabs, so like old school rave stabs. So let me see. Turn the compressor, delay. So it's just a couple of layers. I think one was from a sample pack and one was from a synth. I can't remember which, but it's just like a normal sequence. Bit of compression. Delay here, Echo Boy, unbelievable delay. Can't recommend enough. Just to kind of spread it out so it has like a be ping pong, very, very short feedback. Obviously a bit of side chain to chug it over, and then it's just a gain at the end here. So what I've done was this first section here up until here just had the normal, that little normal sequencer on its own with the percussion and the bass. So oh yes, and this as well. It's kind of like a filler. Just sits underneath. Right, so that's that sound. The reason I showed you that first is because this was like another variation that I made to come into the transition. Again, just doing something cool before we get those big energy lifts. So that's just this sound, just hitting on the 16th. There is, it's obviously bounced down, it's like a bit crusher that's coming up with it. And then here we'll have just a delay, that little delay echoey kind of effect. You can do it in loads of different plugins. I'm not going to show you now, but there's a plugin called, let me see, I think it's Effectrix it's called, yep. If you go to Effectrix, the tonal delay it's called, have a play about with that, but it's kind of the same thing. And then you just put a feedback on it and it carries you across. A bit of feedback on the final hit and it carries you across there into the transition. So let's have a listen to those together. So it just smooths you across, lovely, and brings you into that section. Another variation on the exact same sound because it is a fill. Same exact thing I said earlier on, things, kick and bass comes out. There you go, kick, just one kick and then a reverse kick and then percussion. Filtered down, and then obviously that's where the effects come in to smooth it over. Layer, 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 layer. Keeps chugging along until it gets to here, and then what I've done with those rave stabs, just one final little cheeky section, is I just took them and I made a lot of variations with them, so it implements like a change, so it's not exactly the same. It doesn't go for like 40 bars there, or sorry, 32 bars right across, exactly the same sound. So I wanted to have it like change up a bit and add a couple more sounds with it. So another fill there. And here, let me see, where is the variation of these? So instead of this, I changed it up to make this. So it's just a kind of a nice little change after that fill section there, instead of coming back into that. It's a bit more interesting, you know. And then obviously here's your outro. You have your big build at the end here. Like all those big pitched risers and sweeps, and then you have one last fill, and then bang at you. Me, I always have a 1 minute outro. I don't like to have much longer than a 1 minute outro. I don't think you need any longer than a 1 minute outro. Have everything and all your juice, everything it's nice in the middle, and then just have that 1 minute outro at the end for when you're mixing. On the decks, obviously. So yeah, just this last big build. There's your pitched risers and stuff. And one last time, like, you have everything filtering down, kick and bass. Make your transitions and fills a lot more interesting. Basic, just low pass filter. Bit of reverb there and a delay. Same on the percussion, just filtered down. Yeah, old famous song, boys. One of the most recognisable sounds in trance music. And then obviously here, your outro. So all that together. So there we go, that's it, the whole project, all 310 channels of it. Yeah, it was fun. Hope you learned a little bit on that, seeing how a little bit of insight to how my tracks are actually produced. Kind of like a basic track in a way. There's not like too much going on, it's just more like effects driven, couple of synths and stuff. It was more dark and driving than like overly complex, but definitely gonna be doing some more of these. A couple of releases lined up a lot more complex than this, so we'll get those sorted for the next ones. And yeah, keep these going because they are quite fun. So yeah, cheers guys, cheers for the support on the track as well. Up to 84 today, in the Beatport Top 100. If you would like to get involved, I will post a link under this video and you can check it out here. Cheers again for watching and all the best. Thanks guys.